Assalamualaikum. Today I will explain about a summary case. In case Chinambi Development Sdn Bhd v Tai Kim Choo and 4 ORS, the respondent will purchase of certain house to be constructed by the applicants. Each of the respondent had signed a sale and purchase agreement to purchase a house at RM29,500. The present dispute relates to the payment of additional sum of RM4,000 by each respondent to the applicants. The magistrate had found that the payment of RM4,000 was not voluntary but made under a threat by a applicant. To cancel the respondent booking for their house, the main ground of appeal by the applicants was that the RM4,000 was paid voluntarily and not under the coercion. The respondent, however, claimed a refund of the additional sum paid. Therefore, the respondent must advise the plaintiff in progress that this contract is irrevocable. In any case, that offended party must pay RM4,000 to the respondent. Further, with the settlement in this case, the court ruled that the plaintiff guaranteed to pay an additional sum of RM4,000 to create a house reservation seemed not be fulfilled, since the promise was made under constraint and not intentionally. In conclusion, on the off chance that there by between the respondent and the plaintiff, the respondent must carefully explain the term of the contract to the plaintiff so as not to cause misunderstanding. Cost issue during the buy, repair, or after the purchase. This sign is include an understanding between two parties. That's all for me. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Nurani Syabri Muhammad Shahril. My number matric is 20208971. I will continue with parties involved in this case. One is Chinambi Development Sdn Bhd, and second one is Tai Kim Choo and 4ROS. Chinambi is a defendant. The housing development company, meanwhile, Tai Kim Choo and 4ORS is the plaintiff who the purchased house with to be contract with appellant, right, and that is of related parties with the defendant and the plaintiff. The right plaintiff in getting the actually housing price quite started in the agreement without paying an additional payment of granting amount started by the defendant. Plaintiff can cancel the booking loan for the defendant because the plaintiff is interested for the payment with involving to pay. Right of defendant threatening plaintiff to pay for additional costs in order for plaintiff to buy house. Duty of the defendant. Defendant is the agreement have been started under connection in section of voidable contract. The defendant should tell the plaintiff's corner in the disagreement about the additional cost without threatening and can avoid misunderstanding toward plaintiff.
The issue and problem that has been raised. The issue in the case is whether the contract entered between Wali and Das is valid due to consent extent of the contract as 1950, provided that all agreements are contract if they are made by free consent of the contracting parties. Therefore, in order to constitute a valid contract, there must be no force or influence from other person to enter into the contract. It must be done willingly and freely. Under S14, there is no free consent if a person enters into contract under social. In the case of Chinambi Development Sendirian Berhad, Vitai Kim Choo, the respondent purchased certain house for construction for the price of 29,700 from the appellant. The respondent claimed that they have to pay additional sum of 4,000 to the appellant under the threat where the appellant threatened to cancel the booking of the house if the sum was not paid. There was held by the court that there was consent by appellant as the 4,000 payment was done involuntarily and with no free consent. In Vali case, plaintiff has sold the house to defendant for 55,000, whereas in fact the original price was 123,456,000. Plaintiff claimed that he was forced to enter into the said contract. Looking at the fact of Vali case, at the time of the contract, plaintiff was surrounded by defendant workers who were physically large and rude. Based on S50, their acts can be classified as conscience because plaintiff feels scared and threatened by the worker work and conduct, which then caused plaintiff to enter into contract and defendant even though the plaintiff did want to. In conclusion, the contract between Vali and Das is voidable due to conscience and Vali has to resign or continue the contract.
Hi, my name is Sumi Cornelius. So next, we are moving to the element of contract that was involved in this case. The element of contract that was involved in Chinambi Development with Tai Kim Choo case was free consent. Free consent was defined as consent is said to be free when it is not caused by one or more of the following, which are coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, and mistake. In this case, it is stated coercion under free consent. The issue in this case is the contract entered between Vali and Das is valid due to coercion. Section 10(1) in the Contract Act 1950 provides that all agreements are contracts if they are made by free consent of the contracting parties. Therefore, in order to constitute a valid contract, there must be no force or influence from other person to enter into the contract. It must be done willingly and freely. Under Section 14, there is no free consent if a person enters into contract under coercion. Threatening act forbidden by Penal Code is one of the circumstances of coercion under Section 15. The act involves threat to bodily injury and this can be done by words or conduct of a person. Therefore, if James feels threatened by the words or action of Billy, James can be said to be under coercion and Billy shall be liable for committing coercion. Under Section 19, a contract entered due to coercion is voidable and thus, the victim has the right to resign or continue with the contract. In the case of Chinambi Development with Tai Kim Choo, the defendant, a housing developer, told the purchasers to pay an additional 4,000 ringgit and threatened to cancel their bookings if they did not do so. The purchasers paid the said sum and later claimed for its return on the ground that it was paid under coercion within Section 73, whilst the defendant contended that this did not fall within coercion as defined in Section 15 of the Contracts Act. It was held by the court that there was coercion by the appellant as 4,000 ringgit payment was done involuntarily and with no free consent. In Vali's case, plaintiff has sold the house to defendant for 55,000 ringgit, whereas in fact, the original price was 123,456 ringgit. Plaintiff claimed that he was forced to enter into the said contract. Looking at the fact of Vali's case, plaintiff was surrounded by the defendant's workers who were physically large and rude during the period of the contract. Defendant's workers also carried sharp weapons in a way of threatening to injure the plaintiff. Based on Section 15, these acts can be classified as coercion because plaintiff felt scared and threatened by the workers' conduct, which then forced plaintiff to enter into contract with the defendant even though it was against the plaintiff's will. In conclusion, the contract between Valley and Des is voidable due to coercion and Valley has the option to resign or continue the contract.
Solution of case. The plaintiff was not happy that she was forced to pay an additional of 4,000 ringgit so that the booking of her house would not be cancelled by the defendant. As a result, the plaintiff brought this issue to court so that she could seek justice. Based on the court's decision, the defendant was caught guilty of coercion in the agreement of paying an additional of 4,000 ringgit to the appellant. Thus, the contract is voidable as stated in Section 10. All agreements are contract if they are made by the free consent of parties, and in Section 14, consent is said to be free when it is not caused by coercion, fraud, mistake, misinterpretation, and undue influence. Based on this case, there had been coercion, which refers to Section 15. Coercion is committing or threatening to commit any act forbidden by the penal code or the unlawful detaining of any property with the intention of causing any person to enter into an agreement. That is all from us. Thank you.